This presentation introduces techniques of night photography. Successful night photography explores color, contrast, line, and space. Night photography allows you to incorporate camera mechanics and composition skills, along with the exploration of tone, light, and color mixing. Mixed lighting is an exciting element of low light and night photography, as different light sources produce different colors with a single white balance setting. These color shifts are unseen to the naked eye. Recall from the previous week's lesson on light and color that the blue hour is a great time to take low-light photographs, especially for handheld shots. The blue hour occurs in the hour before sunrise and the hour after sunrise and results in blue and purple hues in the early or late hours. Light in the blue hour is less intense and often requires longer shutter speeds and wide-open apertures. Take advantage of this transition period, the time after sunsets but before it's completely dark. Colors during this time can be very dramatic, especially as man-made lighting becomes available. Pay attention to particles in the atmosphere. Fog, rain, mist, clouds, smoke, and even diffuse interior light can impact shape, pattern, tone, and texture. These particles can pick up light in unique ways, allowing your photographs to take on a new dimension. If you photograph with a very high ISO, typically of about 6,000 or higher, you may see interpolation. Interpolation occurs when the sensor creates missing information, as shown in the sky in this photograph. Higher-powered sensors, however, as with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, have less interpolation at high ISOs. This photograph had an auto ISO of 5,000 and has much less interpolation than the previous photograph. The aperture was wide open for capturing the stars. Speeds longer than 15 seconds can produce blurs or star trails. One thing to look for with low light and night photography is incorporating backlighting to enhance shadows. This can provide extra interest to your foreground. Adjusting your white balance at night is just as important during the day. Try to achieve a true white. A best practice for making these edits is to do so on your computer where you have a larger screen. Mixed lighting is an exciting element of indoor concerts and is typically bright enough to get away with hand-stabilized images, so there's no need to carry a tripod. Make use of available light, as stage lighting can produce powerful, decisive moment photographs, as shown in this photograph of Sleater-Kinney, taken with an iPhone 8 Plus. Just be sure to get to your show early enough to make it to the front of the stage. For photographing concerts and performances, avoid using a flash at all times. Make sure you turn this off prior to photographing. Also, practice hand-holding beforehand. And try to get as close to the subject as possible and stabilize your camera as much as you can. One way to get great concert photographs, especially in low-light situations, is to use Frame Grabber. This is an app that allows you to grab still photographs from video. On supported smartphone models, you can use night mode to capture photos when the camera detects a low-light environment. On iPhones, this is available on iPhones 11 Pro Max and later. Use Pro Mode on Android phones for night mode. When photographing the moon, remember the moon is reflecting the sun, so the exposure of just the moon is the same as reflected sunlight. To capture the moon without overexposure, keep your shutter speed at 1/125th of a second at approximately f8 at an ISO of 100, basically following the Sunny 16 rule. To compress the space, use a telephoto lens of 200mm or higher. The more compression, the closer the moon will appear. There are limitations when using smartphone cameras. To take this photo as a demonstration, I used an iPhone 13 Pro Max. You can see the quality of the image doesn't compare to the photograph taken with the DSLR around the same time during the blue hour at 10 times magnification. This is approximately equivalent to a 500mm telephoto lens. However, if you want to explore photographing the moon, here's how it can be achieved with a smartphone. First, start by photographing the moon in normal, not night mode, if you can, during the blue hour. at your lens focal length at approximately 2 to 3 times magnification. Then auto-expose autofocus lock on the moon by pressing and holding on the moon. Then lower your exposure by dragging the exposure slider downwards. Then, while you're still in this mode, zoom in. For this image, it was zoomed in at 10 times magnification. This image was taken with the iPhone 12 Pro Max during the blue hour transition from the golden hour. The potential to create an impactful photo incorporating the moon is always possible. Sometimes the best moon photos don't include the moon itself in the photograph. Rather, they incorporate the moon as a light source. This was a 1-minute exposure taken with a DSLR on a tripod during a full moon with an ISO of 400 at f11. Long exposures such as this can produce dramatic results, especially when you stabilize your camera properly, and can produce dreamy nighttime landscapes. If you focus on including the moon, it can be a frustrating object in your photographs, appearing as a blurred object, as shown on the left. You can always photograph the available light of the moon, however, incorporating it in your photos by recomposing and then capturing the moon's reflective and ambient light, as it appears in the photograph on the right, on the buildings in the background, the sky, and in the lower left corner. Both of these are uncropped photographs with no extra image editing, with a daylight white balance of 5600. The shadow details in the park are coming from the streetlight. Notice the beautiful mixed colors, especially in the shadow detail, resulting from the mixed light.